Can you tell me about Twickenham, where the Red Lion Jump took place?
Yeah, I can. But before I do, I'd just like to mention, if any of you saw my episode about playing less notes, I watched a Chris Buck video, the Friday Fretworks video. No, it wasn't. It was a thing he did with Rhett Shaw, an interview with Rhett Shaw on a thing called Dipped in Tone. And they asked him at the end of the interview what his goals were in the next 5 years, where his guitar playing was going to go. And he said, I have to learn to say what I want to say in fewer notes. So thanks, Chris, for backing up what I said. And maybe you'll see mine and maybe you won't, but
Yeah.
I'll send it to you probably.
Just looking out for less.
Okay, so let's get to Twickenham. Twickenham's a place that's really sort of steeped in rock music history. There was a club there called the Eel Pie Island Club. It was in the Eel Pie Hotel. Eel Pie Island is a small island in the River Thames. And there was a big hotel built on it in the 1800s. And it had a huge ballroom. And this became a rock venue from about 1961, 62 through until the place burnt down in 1971. 1971, I think it burnt down. I went there once when I was 15, so that'd be 1970. And it was the craziest place I'd ever been to.
Yeah?
Yeah. Absolutely packed, loads of people. And it really excited me to be there. I'm going to be reading some lists in this video, so you'll have to forgive me if I do. But it's just too much for an old bloke like me to remember. So the people who played at the Eel Pie Island was the Rolling Stones, The Who, Pink Floyd, Screaming Lord Sutch, who I played with a couple of times later on, David Bowie, Rod Stewart, Eric Clapton, and Jimmy Page. So quite a lot of people who were getting into rock music or were into rock music were playing there. And there was another quite famous venue in Twickenham. It was called the Cabbage Patch. It was the nearest pub to the International Rugby Stadium. And they had a downstairs which was 1 or 2 nights a week was a folk club originally in the 60s when the folk movement was going. Eventually, when the Eel Pie burnt down, I think it was probably in the early 80s, a woman whose name I can't remember because it didn't go much, she took it over and it was like an R&B club, rhythm and blues club. Not R&B as it is known today, but rhythm and blues. And she tried to get quite a few of the people who played Eel Pie to go down there.
Yeah.
I think she renamed it something relating to the Eel Pie at the Cabbage Patch or something. But Twickenham is a very easy connection from London on the main line rail. And it has a big population of people who are or were interested in music. I think a lot of more people then in the 90s were more interested than probably now.
Yeah.
It's quite a mixed population, but it was also quite a pub orientated population. There were lots and lots of pubs in Twickenham, not so many now, but yeah. So the Red Lion was there, and as I said in the previous video, Pete Welland introduced me to it, and I went, And yeah, that's where the Red Lion took place. The Red Lion Jam took place. I'm interrupting this video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already. If you are watching this series, then you probably have a friend or friends that would also find these videos interesting. So I'm asking you to share the videos with them. It won't cost you anything except a minute of your time, and it would really help to grow the channel and ensure that it continues. Thank you. And now back to the episode.
You mentioned earlier that this jam was very influential on your life.
Yeah, it was. Just really the number of people I met and the quality of music coming out of that South London pub was quite incredible. I've got another list. Don't want to miss anybody out, so I've got my list. Right, so some of these you'll know, some of those you won't. I'll try and explain a little bit about them as we go. So Matt Schofield, he was a player I saw there, and very impressive guitar player. Now making his money in the States, big presence on YouTube, and I think he's got a merchandise deal with Two Rock amplifiers. So he was playing there. I met Bob Morgan there. Bob Morgan's a sax player who I've worked in the studio with and has also played in my Dogman Do band, orchestra. The Dogman Do Orchestra was a great band. We have a video coming up about that. Bob plays tenor sax, clarinet, and piano. Richard Sadler, I met there. He's a bass player and a baritone sax player. He played baritone sax in the Dogman Do's. My good friend Peter Karpov, he's there. We call him Lefty Pete because he's left-handed. And Pete's a great guy for the funk, all that funk stuff. Maybe the last time I was in England, I went to visit him, and we went to do a little jam at his local pub where he lives in Farnham. And I got some video of it. It's me playing a Telecaster that's called Tracy. So she'll be in the guitars issue. And Lefty Pete, I might do a video call with him at a later date so you'll get to meet him. There was also a Lefty Pete that played bass. So we had two Lefty Petes at the Red Lion Jam. It was a lovely, steady, easy-going player. He always supported you well. I met John Blackburn there. John Blackburn is also a bass player, right-handed. Known as Little John, and his dad was known as Big John because they're both called John Blackburn. His dad was a really, really big guy and John wasn't. He was a bit small. And I nearly suffocated him one night when we were coming back from a gig, and he's got a dog allergy, and he was in my car and I had 3 springers and he nearly passed out. We nearly had to stop by the side of the road. Well, the Red Lion Jam is proving to be quite a long video, so we're going to break it here and we'll pick it up again in next week's episode.